Hello and welcome to Fergie's Gum podcast. My name's Nathan and I'm joined as always by my good friend Ahmad.
Hi Nathan, how are you?
I'm good, apart from the wrist injury that I'm carrying at the moment. Changing a bike tyre of all things. I felt a little tendon just rip in my wrist and yeah, that's the injury that I'm carrying at the moment. Well, at least it's not on leg one, so I'm making progress.
Yeah, no, hopefully it's nothing serious.
No, hopefully not. It's usually the leg ones that keep me from playing football at the moment. In my advanced years, they don't heal as quick as they used to. But anyway, enough about me. We've got a lot to get through in this show, including the Arsenal game, which happened a couple of days ago now. It was on at past midnight, so I was absolutely fast asleep. But I assume that you was up doing your due diligence over Amorim's selection and the game at hand.
Yeah, of course. It was even later than usual this time. It was at 12:15, so yeah, it's getting even worse every time.
Yeah, I don't think it'll get much worse. I think it'll stay like this, obviously, because in the UK they've gone an hour forward. Is it? Spring forward? No. Fall back.
Yeah.
No, they've gone an hour behind. That's right. So we're now 4 hours behind in the UK rather than 3. It's fine. We won't get bogged down in details. How was the Arsenal game? Because from what I've seen and what I've read, it was a flat game throughout from both sides, and it was two very skillfully played set pieces that was our doing. They had 13 corners in total, and we had 0. Interesting.
I mean, I don't think anyone was expecting much of the game. Going away to Arsenal always seems to be a difficult task for us. I think we haven't won there since 2017 or 18, I'm not sure. But it was in that season with Jose Mourinho. But yeah, I wasn't expecting much. I was hoping I would see something new, or at least some progress, even in bigger games. I think everyone would agree this was our biggest test so far. And I actually saw that, so it was not all doom and gloom. The game was boring, to be honest, but I liked a lot of what I saw. Of course, the result wasn't what we all hoped for, but since it's very early in Ruben Amorim's stint, I think we shouldn't get our hopes up. So
I think that's very fair, and I do think that we're still in the honeymoon period with this, with Amorim. I don't think the Arsenal result matters as much as it might have done if Erik ten Hag was still in charge. You know, I think he's still trying to find his best 11. I think he's probably got an idea of what that is right now, but the one thing that I do enjoy about this current period is the experimentation that he's doing. So he's trying out everyone in the squad to see who has the ability to do the things that he wants them to do. And you just don't know what the selection is going to be like each week. I know he was forced into making a couple of changes because of Mainoo's suspension and Martinez's suspension. But then you've got, and Luke Shaw's injury, which we'll talk about in a second. But then you've got Maguire making his first start since October, I think, maybe even before that.
Yeah,
and then Malacia, obviously, was that his first Premier League start in I don't know, 500 million days? Yeah.
Yeah, since Ten Hag's first season, yeah.
Unreal. But he's trying his best to try and find the players. And I've seen clips of him on the sideline just being incredibly frustrated with what he's watching on the pitch. He's very diplomatic when he's talking in the press conferences before and after the games. But could you see the things that he was getting frustrated about? There was a lot of loose passes.
Yeah. It wasn't just loose passes. It was about the players they weren't being brave enough when they got into the final third. So there was more than one situation where we got into positions to, for example, put the ball into the box or like play that pass to create a chance. But the players just, I don't know, I'm not sure if they didn't know what to do because the system is new. I don't know if they were unsure, they weren't confident enough. But yeah, I think this is mainly why he was frustrated, because I think defensively, I think we actually were really good. First half we were really good throughout the whole game. So I think he would have been pleased by that. The players are getting more to grasp with what he's asking of them. But yeah, like going forward, it's still very stale. We're not creating enough. And yeah, like I said, against Arsenal, there were a few opportunities for us to create something, but the players just weren't going for it. I think that was what would have frustrated them the most.
Do you think it's like you mentioned about the confidence side of things? Do you think it's purely that, or do you think they've just forgotten how to play football in quite a literal sense?
I think it's a mix of them not being confident enough and of them, to be honest, lacking in quality. Like,
right.
I'm just gonna be like, bluntly, they are lacking in quality. They're not up to the standard, unfortunately. Not all of them, but most of them. And the thing is, I always say a manager's job in a team is to set up the team not to concede chances and not concede goals, and get the players into positions where they can create chances. That's the only thing he can do. He cannot force them to put the ball into the net. Like, he can train that in training sometimes, but when the players are at that level, when they're international players, then there's not much he can train further. So I think that's the only thing he can do, like just get them into positions where they can actually create something. But many of the players, they don't have the quality to create chances for themselves. They don't have the quality to play that, I don't know, the final pass, get into the right positions, sniff out those chances, which you need in a player, because there's nothing you can do as a coach more than like actually just, setting the team up. So yeah, I think they're not confident, and also the players we have, a lot of them, they lack in quality, especially in big games like this, Arsenal away. So yeah,
I think we were gonna talk about Luke Shaw's injury in a bit of a separate section, but you've kind of like accelerated us there to the point where he was talking about there isn't enough quality in these big games. Now, Luke Shaw probably would have been playing at left back or left centre back in that game, like without a shadow of a doubt. And one of the chances that I saw as the game was being played at 0-0, Dalot, he has a habit of popping up in these spots at the left side and in space and running in on goal. But his end product is it's not good enough. It's simply not good enough. Now, Luke Shaw, who knows when he's going to be coming back? Who knows like how he's going to be coming back when he does return? But we've got players like Malacia and Shaw that injury prone, and then we've got Dalot that's playing out of position on the left-hand side. Surely this means that we have to move on from Shaw. I don't think we can rely on him anymore. I know that I'm not being awful. I'm not trying to hound him out. It's terrible. He had a broken leg. He's had lots of injuries, and he's trying his best to come back. But I think as a professional team that has ambitions to win every competition that they're in, you cannot hedge your bets on a right wing back playing left wing back who can't finish, someone that's been injured for over 500 days, and a player that you get a purple patch from every 18 months. So I think it's about time that we, in January maybe, or probably not, probably next summer, I think we need to move on. But I was going to ask you, who would be your choice at that left back role? Because I've got a few people written down here. I just wonder if we're on the same page with this.
I mean, ideally, it would be Alphonso Davies with that left wing back role. We've been linked to him. His contract runs out at the end of the season. Doesn't look like he's going to sign a new contract with Bayern. Madrid are interested in him, so yeah, probably he would go there if he had the chance. But yeah, I think he would be a good option because he's one of the fastest players around. His left foot is really good. I think he's better going forward than defending, and I think in the Amorim system, I think that would be ideal for the left wing back role. But the only worry with him is also his injury record. He gets injured a lot as well. I think it has to do with how explosive he is. He's always bound to get injured when you're that explosive.
Yeah.
For the past couple of seasons, his injury record has been better, but he's still like we wouldn't want to take that risk again. So yeah, other than Davis, I would, of course, Theo Hernandez, but he's not. I don't think he's a realistic target. So realistically, I think we should only look in the Premier League. Like I always say, if you want to buy someone, yeah, you have to buy them from the Premier League. Don't do the same mistake that we've always been doing.
I was going to say, apart from his injury record, I think Davies has that. He hasn't played in the Premier League before. I'm not saying that he can't, but it's just when you're looking for a quick fix because you know that you need that player to just come in and do the job straight away. I think Premier League experience is incredibly valuable, which is why I've written down here, I've got 3 names for you. You've mentioned it before, Zirkzee.
Yeah.
Anthony Robinson and Estupiñán from Brighton.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those 3, which one would you choose? Which one do you think suits the system?
Yeah, so that's a very important point. For the system, I would go for Zirkzee. Because I actually think Robinson is better than him defensively. So if you want to play back 4, then I would definitely go for Robinson. But going forward and with the system we're playing, Zirkzee is very good. I actually watched him last night again for Bournemouth against Spurs, and he was very good. He's very solid defensively, and he's very he's very quick. He's very aggressive. He's very tenacious. He has a really good left foot on him. So yeah, I think he would be a very good option.
I
don't know.
Sorry, the only question with Zirkzee is whether he'd want to play for a mid-table team. So, he's got grand ambitions now that Bournemouth are flying, right?
Yeah, they're I think 3 points out of us.
Yeah, 3 points ahead, 3 big points. It's still quite close in the league, even with that defeat. Yeah, it's still quite close up there. People dropping points all over the place. So I expect, we'll talk about Nottingham Forest later, but I expect a response against Forest from Amorim's side. And I think he'll make changes again to try and get his perfect 11 out. I think he's going to be forced to make changes because I think some of them were absolutely gassed at the end of that game. Let's see. So there's been another big debate amongst the fans and, well, clearly amongst the coaching staff at Manchester United at the moment. Who gets that number 9 spot? So we had Zirkzee scored a couple of goals against Everton at the weekend, and then he was dropped to Hojlund, who the week before that had scored a couple of goals against Bodo Glimt. I like the idea of 2 players fighting for that position, and I can't see them, even though we did it in desperation against Ipswich, I can't see the 2 of them playing together. I don't think that's going to be part of the system. Out of the 2, who would be your starting striker out of the 2 of these, Zirkzee or Hojlund?
Honestly, it's depending on the opposition. It depends on the opposition, like who we're playing. Then both of them have different characteristics that could benefit depending on who we're playing. For example, against Everton we saw Zirkzee, and against Arsenal we saw Hojlund. But yeah, so I don't think we should just choose one because we're gonna need both. For now, out of both of them, I don't think either of them are good enough, to be honest. If I'm honest, yeah, like I can't choose, mainly because it's depending on the opposition, and mainly because none of them stands out. Like, yeah, this guy has to start.
I mean, that's fair enough. Going back to the Arsenal game, then Hojlund obviously got the start. He got the nod. Was there anything that you saw that would have suggested that we would have been better starting Zirkzee, or do you just class them both as the same sort of striker right now? Because they both have their pluses and minuses. Like I think just to put my side of things in there, Zirkzee's better at linking play, I believe, and coming from deep with the ball, trying to link it up from midfield, which is not always needed, especially in the number 9. You need them to be in the box and scoring goals. Hojlund is better and has more variety of goals that he can score. I think he's more of the sharpshooter out of the two. And he's strong. And he's great at running in behind defenders. So, he's probably, in my mind, he's probably just marginally ahead of Zirkzee in terms of who should be the number 1 pick for that number 9 spot. But I do see your point about those games that that you can use them in. But against Arsenal, Hojlund or Zirkzee, do you think Amorim got it right?
I think so, because Hojlund didn't do much, but we could have said the same if Zirkzee started as well. So I think I can see why he started Hojlund, because against Arsenal they pressed really high up, and he wanted the option to go long, and you need a striker to hold up the play. So between Zirkzee and Hojlund, he would choose Hojlund. But yeah, watching the game, to be honest, Hojlund, he's not strong enough to battle Saliba. Even Gabriel didn't play the game, but Kiwior stepped in, and he was actually also out-muscling Hojlund. So a lot of people keep saying that Hojlund's hold-up play is good. I don't see it. I think his first thought is always jostling the defender before actually thinking like what he's gonna do with the ball when it comes. So yeah, I think, like I said, I get why Hojlund started, but I don't think it worked out. There weren't many opportunities for him to run behind the deep pass. So yeah, it didn't work out.
But I think Hojlund's issue is his immaturity. He hasn't quite learned what the veterans would call the dark arts. Like, he hasn't learned how to get an edge on his opponent. He's still going very much just smashing. Like, if you want to try and outmuscle me, I'll outmuscle you. I'm going to try and turn you in the same way that I would do anyone else. He hasn't quite learned those, I know it sounds awful, but the little shirt pulls, the little moving into space and then dashing off, the little pushes, the little nudges off the ball, just to get in their head. We've all played football where we've had to go up against our opposite number, and we've had it happen to us. We do it to them. You just put a little marker down to let them know, this is how the game's going to be today. Take them out of their game and try and make them do something different. But Hojlund always seems to play into the opposition's hands in terms of having that physical battle. And I think any Premier League defender knows how to defend him when you're touch tight.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. I think he needs to learn these things. He's still young, but I don't think you have much time to learn at a club like United. You have to learn, but you have to be producing at the same time. Unfortunately, he hasn't been doing that enough ever since he came. I don't think it would be the worst idea to get a more experienced striker. one of the kind of strikers like the one like you're saying, who actually knows how to deal with defenders. Because thinking of it, Hojlund is actually physically he's strong, he's big, he's not small. But he lacks this I don't know, maybe like dark side, like you said. For example, Diego Costa. Diego Costa wasn't big. He's not bigger than Hojlund, that's for sure. I don't think he's stronger than Hojlund. But he always managed to. You always felt like he was the one bullying the defender because he had that side to him.
Is he still playing? Can we get him in? Should we get him in January? Is he still going?
He's in Brazil.
He is, yeah. With Alex Tellez, who might win the league with Botafogo at the weekend.
He did win the league.
Oh, they won it already?
Yeah.
Ah, right. I thought it was a competition that they won recently.
Was it? I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I'm not up on my Brazilian football. And yeah.
You
exactly.
Myself.
Last question about this before we move on. Do you see, in the next 12 months, do you see both Zirkzee and Hojlund at the club? And if not, who do you think is going to leave?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I think it depends on how the next 6 months go. But I think if neither of them can actually prove that they can perform, then one of them is going to go. And we're going to get a more experienced striker. Out of both of them, I like both, but I think Hojlund is more suited to the league. So I think, and we paid more on him. So maybe if you sell Zirkzee, you would get less of a loss on her. So I think Hojlund stays, Zirkzee would leave.
But in an ideal world, that's what I was going to say. In an ideal world, you'd prefer them both to come good, though, right?
100%. Because it's confusing with the United. Because we always used to say, why do we always go for the 30-plus-year-old strikers? But we go for them because they're experienced. And then when we go for the inexperienced striker, that we say, for example, if Hojlund moved to, I don't know, like say Newcastle or like Brighton or something, he would have been banging in like 20 goals this season, and we would have said we would have had to pay like 100 million for him, and we would have said, why didn't we buy him before he went to Brighton? So that's the thing. Like I think we tried doing, but like as we saw, it's not as easy as people think. Ideally, you would go for a striker that's in his prime, like 27, 28, who's actually scoring consistently, and ideally he would be with Premier League experience. But you'd have to pay a lot of money for that, and I don't think there's many options out there right now.
I think it'd be Gyökeres, and he's got championship experience and top Portuguese league experience as well. But I think that's out of all the strikers in the world right now, if he was going to airlift one of them into Amorim's team, or if he was going to, I believe it would be Gyökeres.
Yeah, but like again, you're taking the same risk. You're taking the same risk. He's not okay. Actually, Gyökeres scored his 60th goal in 2024 last night or the night before. Imagine, like he has 60 goals in 2024, but still, I wouldn't be surprised if he came to United and then like his goals dried up. That's why I think you have to go to you have to get someone who's actually proven in the Prem, or someone like Osimhen, for example, who's actually proven in the Champions League as well, and in the Italian league. Yeah, we got Hojlund from the Italian league, we got Zirkzee from the Italian league, but Osimhen was banging in like 30 goals. So yeah,
I think we were never completely set up to help players to thrive, and I think you could probably count on one hand the amount of signings that we've had that have actually gone on to do well at United and thrived in that situation before Amorim, before Ten Hag, since Ferguson left basically. But now, hopefully, with the structure in place, players that are raw, like Hojlund, like Zirkzee, should be able to be moulded into something that comes good, because we can't keep, as you said, Can't keep going out and buying 27, 28-year-old for 100 million euros every season. There's got to be something that changes within the actual system and the foundations of the club to actually help us progress, because we can't keep relying on money.
Yeah, but I think, especially in the striker role, you have to buy someone who actually can guarantee goals. Even with Ferguson, if you think of it, we never bought players that we're not sure of, like strikers. If you think of the strikers we've bought, they've always been Andy Cole, for example. He was proven in the Prem. Sheringham was proven in the Prem. But then you get like Solskjaer along with them. That's how you hedge your bets. So you get someone who's proven, and then you get someone who can either do well or maybe not. But if he doesn't, then we have someone who is actually proven. Even Tevez, even Berbatov, all of them are from the Prem. Rooney, so I don't know. Like this is the thing with strikers. Even you see the other teams doing it. Like City, the striker they bought was Haaland. He was scoring 50 goals. There was no risk with him. Arsenal went on Havertz from Chelsea. Jesus from City. So this is the thing. Like it's not easy with strikers, but they're one of the most. Like if your striker doesn't score goals, then you're never gonna do anything.
Next up for Manchester United is a test of Nottingham Forest at Old Trafford on Saturday. It's is it the early kickoff? One of the early kickoffs, or is it?
No. It's the
regular time.
9:30 our time. That's weird, so it's in the middle, like
Oh, I was hoping to watch it like in the afternoon, but no.
9:30.
I think that's bedtime. It's bedtime for me. You know that. Okay, so Forest have been flying high. They seem to have become like a fairly solid unit as well, which was it kind of happened all of a sudden because they weren't doing very well in the league at the very start. They'd made a lot of purchases. They'd made a lot of changes within the squad, and I don't remember them getting off to an absolute flyer. But in recent weeks, they've been one of the form teams, so it's not going to be an easy game.
Actually, I think it's the other way around, because they actually did start really well and they fell off the past 5 weeks. So
did they? I've got my notes upside down. That's what it was.
No, they've been good. They've been good, to be honest. They've been impressive. The only reason that they haven't been, because out of the last 4, they've won only one game, and they've lost 3. The only reason they lost these 3 was because it was against City, against Arsenal, and against Newcastle. So, yeah, they're like you said, they're strong as a unit. Their defense is very good. Almost all of their defenders are in form. Ole Aina, he's been doing very, very well. They got in Milinkovic, he's doing very well. Murillo, he's really good. I really like this defender. I think he's one of the next big things that everyone's gonna be after in the near future. And their keeper has been very good, Sells. And going forward, Chris Wood, he's been on fire. So yeah, it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy. But the only thing maybe playing in our advantage is that maybe they've lost a bit of confidence because of the last few weeks.
Didn't they come to United? Did they come to Old Trafford? Was it last season or season before? And they were right up for it. I can't remember. Did we get beat? There was that game. Do you remember when Morgan Gibbs-White was in the centre circle and they were doing the huddle, and he basically said, I might be remembering this wrong, but I'm fairly certain he said something about just getting at United, and it was picked up on the mics, like getting into him, and they did, and they won. It might have been at the county ground actually.
Exactly, I think it was away, because last season we did lose there 2-1 away, but we won even the home game that we played against them last season. We were down 2-0, remember, and like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Then we tipped around 3-2. So they're not an easy team to play, to be honest. We struggled against them.
But you do think, though, as we've said at the beginning of this podcast, like Amorim must know what his first choice 11 is now. Like he must be gearing towards it. I know there's the experimental stage going on, but he must be gearing towards the right. Okay, I've had a look at everyone. I've seen what they can do. Do you think Saturday's game, barring Luke Shaw, we'll get an idea of what his first 11 will be?
I think probably 8 out of the 11 players, we're gonna know like these players are gonna start because he actually depends on them. The only reason he wouldn't play them is if he's rotating them to rest them. So I think 8 of the 11, yeah, I think we can say that they're gonna be a shoo-in for the starting lineup.
Do you think
but it's still early.
Do you think the big change will be Lenny Yoro will start?
I think he should start. Part of the reason to give Delict some rest because he's been playing every game. Maybe try Mazraoui in one of the wing back roles. Bench Dello. Maybe play Dallo just so he can play Ahmad in one of the number 10 positions. So I think Euro can come in. Yeah, I hope he comes in.
How did he do against Arsenal in the night?
Yeah, he was very good. I was very impressed. His first game since preseason away at the Emirates, it's not easy. He did well. He showed what he's capable of. Like you can tell. Like he's a very good defender. He's very fast, very athletic. He has a long reach with his legs, so he can do this, scooping tackle like Wan-Bissaka used to do. I think we can. I think we're stronger when he's fit. If he's fit and he's playing all the time, then I think we're stronger.
See, I was thinking that they would play him at right centre-back, De Ligt, and then Martinez. I thought that might be his preferred choice right now with the centre-backs lined up. And then Dallo left, forced out to the left. And Ahmad on the right. Or Mazraoui on the right. I don't know.
We can play Mazraoui on the left.
Potentially, yeah. I just don't. I mentioned this when we were talking about the Arsenal game and watching the highlights, but Dallo had that shot where I think it was from the right. Actually, he wasn't on the left. I got my positions mixed up, and we only realised it afterwards. But he had an opportunity to hit the target. We flashed it straight across goal, and in a game of fine margins against teams like Arsenal, and we've got Man City coming up as well. Those things are going to matter. And you need to have the players that can put those away when you're in those positions, or at least hit the target. Hit the target. And I know we've talked before about potentially Dallo not fitting with this system, but one of the good things about him is he does find himself in these positions where he's like behind the defence. But he needs to find an end product. He could be like, if he can find an end product, he could be like a linchpin for that defence, for that right-hand side. Because he does manage to find that space all the time. His timing of his runs are usually pretty good. But he just can't shoot.
I know. He can't shoot. And he can't pass. And he can't defend. But other than that, I think you can use him. Yeah. I gave him way too many chances, to be honest. Like, I've never been convinced of him ever since he came to the club. But yeah, I've always given him the benefits of the doubt. But I think he's 24 years old now, and he's played. I think many people forget he was on loan at AC Milan, and he was playing left back there. Maldini was actually giving him tips and advice. If you're not going to use Maldini as like a source of tips and advice, especially as a left back, then I think nothing's going to help you.
I'm just playing devil's advocate again here. So what we were talking about before about not having the system set up correctly for players to flourish. Do you not think that Dallo is one of those players that has been brought into a fractious foundations and like a non-existent sporting side of things, and has suffered because of it. I know there's a few players that you could say that that's happened to, but when you look back at what Darwin was doing for Porto, is that right? Is that where we're going from?
Yeah.
Like, his crossing was fantastic. Like, he really was, like, getting down the wing, and he was hitting first-time crosses, and it was beautiful. Now, we barely see that. He's capable of it. I mean, the Garnacho goal, against Everton last season, he still had a lot to do with that, by the way.
I think that's the worst example you can use. It was literally way behind him. He has to like jump and.
Okay, an assist is an assist in FPL, right? That's what we see.
Whatever.
But I think he is one of those players that he's lost his confidence since Amorim's coming. I believe that 100%. And I think he's largely affected by the constant churn. And I don't think he's felt settled at Man United. That's what I'm going to say. Just play devil's advocate.
No, I agree. Like, I mean, you can say that, like you said, you can say that about a lot of our players. For example, even Rashford. You can see there's something lacking, like fundamentally, in their, I don't know, like their IQ, footballing IQ.
Yeah.
But you just can't put your finger on it because you're not sure. But it could go down to, because we've been changing so many managers, so many systems. It's not easy, especially when you're developing as a player.
Speaking to one of my other Man United supporting mates the other week, he was saying that Rashford, and we both agreed on this, Rashford, when he first broke onto the scene and he was scoring on his debut in every competition, and he was doing the post-match interviews and he was just laughing, like, I've just scored another goal. I scored in the League Cup, scored in the FA Cup, scored in the League, and scored in was it the European? Yeah. And he scored in his debut for every game. But that's not in every competition. That's not the thing that was the surprising thing to me. When you go back and you watch those videos of Rashford being interviewed after the game, he is like a kid. He is like happy to be out there. He's just the lad down the park, just kicking it about with his mates, but 20 million times better than everyone else because he can just bang it in from anywhere. And there was a smile on his face, and it was really raw, the emotion that was coming out. Like, he was answering questions as he would do, talking to one of his friends. But you see it with a lot of footballers these days. When they're media trained, it just drills that all out of them completely. And I watched his interview, his post-match interview. Which game was it? It was after the Everton game, I think. I think it was after the Everton game. And the only time that he raised a smile in the post-match interview was when I think Zirkzee was wandering around at the back of the interviewer, and he said something to him, and he had a big smile on his face. But as soon as that situation had gone, it was back to very serious, very like weight on his shoulders type of game. He just scored 2 goals as well. I think he's, as my mate was saying as well, it's a job now for him. It's not fun anymore. It's a job. And I don't know if that type of feeling ever comes back again. Once it turns into a job, can it ever come back? So Rashford, I feel like that's why, that's a big reason why he hasn't been hitting form that he has been, or could be doing as he has done previously.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But this is what comes with being a United player, playing for the biggest club in the world, arguably. You have to be able to handle that pressure. You have to enjoy it, though. You have to enjoy it. But I think recent years, he's been getting a lot of stick, a lot of criticism, even when he doesn't deserve it, unfortunately. Yeah. And I think he let it get him a lot. I don't think anyone knows maybe what else is going on in his life, because I'm sure there's a lot of things that we don't know. But I don't know. It's unfortunate because I always thought that, once he gets to 26, 27, he's going to be that consistent type of player that's going to guarantee 20 plus goals every single season, because he had everything for it. He had everything. He physically, he had everything. Technically, he had everything. And we saw it. We saw it like the season where he got 30 goals and 10 assists. We saw like what he can do. But if you don't have the head for it, then it can easily go sour.
To bring things back on track, he's probably going to start against Forest, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, as he should. He scored two goals against Everton. He came on against Arsenal. There was like we're saying this about Rashford, but he scored 3 goals and 2 starts under Amorim. Yeah. So it's not all bad. So maybe he's getting back into form. You can't judge him on his cameo that he came on against Arsenal. It was unfortunate that he conceded the corner that we conceded the second goal from. I think that was needless. I don't know if you saw it. Like he was trying to clear the ball and he slipped. So I think he's getting stick with that as well. But when he's starting, he's doing well, and I wouldn't be surprised if he starts on Saturday and also scores 1 or 2 goals as well. So answering your question, I think he would start.
Do you think we will finally see the Ugarte-Mainu starting pairing at the weekend?
I hope so. I think Kobe is gonna start for sure. Ugarte played 90 minutes against Arsenal. He was very, very good again. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from him. A lot of people judge him way too early. They don't take into consideration like a player is coming into a new country, new language, new culture, settling in. Like they never take this into consideration. But once he's done all that, you can see like he's actually very good. So I don't know if he starts Casemiro as well instead of Ugarte, give him a rest. I'm not sure. It depends. But I would love to see Kobe and Ugarte starting.
I think if he doesn't start Ugarte, Mainu's going to have a lot of running to do with that midfield. Like he's going to be chasing shadows because they are quite direct down the middle as well. So I would like to see Ugarte and Mainu start in that role. Just because I want to see if this is the future, if this is what Amorim wants. Ugarte can play 90 minutes. He's one of those machines. He can keep doing it. I don't think he needs rest, but we'll see. Ahmad was a surprise dropout from the Arsenal game, but I can see him definitely coming back into the side. I think there's a new contract in the offing as well for him.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? And we talked about this with Rashford before, and other players as well. Like it's not just Rashford, but when they're due their contract, they usually play in their best football. When they get their contract, the foot comes off the accelerator slightly. I can't see that happening with Ahmad. There's just something about it.
Rashford, for example, the contract we gave him was, like 300k a week. Bruno as well. Luke Shaw as well. A lot of people forget we gave him a new contract. 2023 for 5 years. So, and like we're paying for that now. You can't get him off the wage bill. You can't sell him.
Nope.
So, with Ahmad, I think it's going to be different because he's still young, he's still hungry. It's not going to be on crazy wages, and he deserves it. Every time he plays, he shows that he's one of the better players on the team. So I think he should definitely start.
He's my FPL pick this week from the United squad. I'd definitely go with Ahmad. I think, did I choose Mazraoui last week? I think I may have chosen him last week, and he got taken off at the dreaded 59th minute. So he got 1 point. Yeah. So he got 1 point against Everton. I think he got 1 point because he was booked as well. So 1 for starting, booked, done, finito. And if he'd had stayed on for 60 minutes, he would have got the 2 bonus points for keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah.
But no.
At least better than mine. Mine was Hojlund. So.
Yeah. and he didn't even play.
Yep.
Zirkzee instead. Who are you going with this week?
Ahmad as well, yeah.
Okay. Good. We're agreed.
He's cheap, 5 million. He got I think it was 6 points, 8 points, and 11 points in his last 3 starts in the league.
Yeah.
So he's a no-brainer.
The only danger at the moment with picking any FPL assets with Manchester United's name on them is the rotation of players. I mean, there's certain players that are shoo-ins, like Onana, possibly Rashford. Maybe not even Rashford. Maybe Mazraoui, Bruno, yeah. But you just don't know what you're going to get. Score prediction?
I think we're going to keep a clean sheet. So I think, 2-0 United.
2-0. I'm going to go 3-0. 3-0 Man United. Doing it. Or 3-1. Maybe we'll concede first and then we'll score 3 after. Just to make it exciting.
They lost 3-0 to City midweek, so...
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. We'll continue the 3-0 defeating Manchester. Okay, before we finish the podcast, it's well worth mentioning the sad passing of the receptionist and Manchester United stalwart Kath Phipps. For any Manchester United fan that doesn't know who Kath is, she was the first person that you would see when you went into Canton, I believe. She was all over social media. Like, players used to post pictures with her all the time. Sir Alex Ferguson used to talk about her all the time. Any manager that has been there in the last 30, 40 years always talks highly of her. So Kath sadly passed away at the age of 85. She'd been at the club since Sir Matt Busby was around as well. And if you look on social media, if you look on Instagram, under the post that Manchester United put out announcing her sad passing, you see the players, past and present, the outpouring of love for that woman. Like, they used to see her as a mum figure. I think David Beckham might have been with her when, towards the end, because he posted a very emotional caption underneath a picture of him holding, I assume was her hand, but the story was that when they came up from London, she said to his parents, "Don't worry, I'll look after him. Your boy will be fine here." And he was. And she was a huge part of Manchester United, huge part of their history, and always will be. As someone that grew up as a Manchester United fan, but obviously didn't live in Manchester, do you know who Kath Phipps was? Does her legend travel with all Manchester United fans?
Yeah, of course. I've known about her for a long time now. Through documentaries that I've always been watching, everyone mentions her. Through the players as well. Like you said, a lot of them show love to her for a long time, not just now. And the fact that she was the only employee that was there with when Sir Matt Busby was there, and she stayed until now. So I think it's difficult not knowing about her, because, like you said, she was one of the most important figures at the club, and she represented what Manchester United are about, a family club. Everyone is really. It's so easy to say that, we're a family club. Any club can say that, but at Manchester United, you actually get that, and it's because of people like her. So it was very sad getting the news last night.
And it was it's beautiful knowing that her legend did travel to throughout every other fan around the world, and she only ever assumed that she was just doing her job. In fact, she said that on many occasions. She didn't think she was special or anything, so completely selfless. So rest in peace to Kath Phipps. Thanks again for listening. We are on Blue Sky still, and we are posting shorts now on YouTube, aren't we? And this entire podcast will be on YouTube as well, so you can see our slightly sweaty faces or definitely mine, because I've not got the AC switched on right now. But yes, we're doing the video podcast on YouTube now. So thanks for listening, and we shall speak to you again next week.